We've now completed our 7-day fasting retreat. So 7 days, hard, dry fast. I dropped 8 kgs in 4 days, which is insane. And in this video, we're going to give you the real truth about what came up, because I have a confession to make firstly, which is that I couldn't complete the full 7 days. So after 4.5 days, I had dropped 8 kgs. Now that was big. I was going down from 63.6 down 8 kgs. So it was a huge amount of my body weight percentage lost. And I just had to have a bath and have a drink of water. And then after that, I decided to carry on as normal. So drinking and eating fruits for the last few days. And now I'm back, totally awesome, energized, everything. I think I pushed myself a lot, and this was my first time trying dry fasting, and trying to do 7 days your first time is quite a lot, right?
It's a lot. I mean, I done the juice fast first. Obviously you've done water fasting first, but this is going to sound quite controversial again for people, but this time round, after 6 days, I actually went from 90 kilos to 79, which is quite a huge drop. But just keep in mind, I know my body better than anybody else knows their body, or knows my body, not their body, and it was all under control. And I actually had a drink after the 6th night, because these two had stopped after about 3 and 4 days, and obviously I wanted to stay with them and keep coaching them. So it's all about what shadow work comes up for you, because you get all of these emotions come up. You'll get a little bit of anger, you'll get stress, you'll get all sorts of emotions coming up. You don't know what's going to come up. It's a bit of a mixed bag. So you definitely need to be prepared for that if you're going to do it, but that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah, for me, I had this huge ego thing, because I said I was going to do 7 days, and I really, really wanted to, and I'm sure I could have forced myself to, but I was already thinking, wow, like, what am I going to be by the end of these 7 days? Like 8 stone or something? That's just not where I wanted to be.
No, we were all looking at that, and it wasn't going to be good if we got that low.
Yeah.
I did my 3 days, had a little drink, and I finished just after 6.5 days of no food. So I think the total figure was 150 hours no food for me, and I did 105 hours no water. So I also didn't do the hard dry fast for 7 days, but my intention was only ever to do the 3. So I'm super pleased anyway.
Really good, mate. Really good.
Thank you.
You did so good. So Dan came into this without much prep and with quite a few addictions and stuff. Like, do you want to tell people what you came here to like shift and work on?
Yeah, well, I didn't do it on purpose, but I came here, I drink every day, not dramatically, but I drink and smoke every day. And I came along, yeah, dry hard fast, that sounds cool, I'll give that a go. Arrived and thought, yeah, that means I've got to give up smoking and drinking, no drama. And I honestly mean that. I had no nicotine cravings at all, don't fancy a beer now. Because I've spent the last 6 and a bit days not eating food, that was more of the priority, was what am I going to do? Where's the energy coming from? Am I dehydrated? Checking on myself a lot. So completely my mind was focused on the task of getting through as much time as I could. So it's been the easiest way to give up drinking and smoking that I've ever done and tried. So it's really good, and I feel awesome.
Yeah, Dan really, really smashed it. He did so good.
So they say, science used to say every 7 years you completely regenerate your whole body and you're a complete new person. And they're saying it's every 11 months. So if you rebuild your thoughts or your addictions or anything like that back into yourself, it's your own fault. I genuinely believe, and this is my experience, that if you do a 7-day hard dry fast, you break down a lot of these cells, and then you can rebuild yourself in a much shorter period of time. Because I used to be a very, very, very bad addict. I was addicted to cocaine. There's not a drug or a food substance or a girl on the planet that I wasn't addicted to, I don't think, at one point. But it really helped me, because literally after the first 2 or 3 of them I'd done, I felt like all of those emotions and all of that shadow work and all of that those years of addiction that I'd built up within my body and within my subconscious, because all those paradigms or programs or habits that I'd built up, I was managed to break down and reprogram them. And this is something that I'm trying to do with a lot of people now and get them to realise, because it's a lot easier than what you think. It's easy when you know how, right? Everything is.
Yeah, and for me, those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I'm all about pushing my limits, trying new things. And here's the thing, when you try new things, it's not always going to work out the way you think it is. And this is a beautiful thing. Like in Britain, we have this attitude, we call it failure, but I don't really believe in failure. I believe we're learning, right? You try something, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. The only way you know if it's going to work for you is if you try it.
Yeah.
And if you're not happy with your life right now, if things aren't the way you want to be, then you have to do something different.
Yeah.
We were talking about this in the car on the way back to London. If your routine, you're always doing the same thing all the time, just change something up.
Yeah.
Maybe throw in a fast, stop eating for a while. You can join my group Water Fast Challenge with Luke Scott. Elliot's page is R666HA13. You can follow dan.catley on Insta. Do something different. Like if you get inspired by us, try it. But if you are going to do fasting, really get some advice from a professional first.
So when I first started my so-called awakening, I decided to try everything differently. So I started looking at words, and obviously I've mentioned earlier our history. If you split it into two words, it says his story, and I wanted to create my story. So I started to take everything that I was taught when I was younger, whether I was right-handed, I started to write with my left hand, I started to play golf left-handed, I started to read a lot more books, which I never used to do, and I was averaging 2 books a week at one point. I think for a year I ended up something like 200 books that I got through. So just do something different, because what happens is when you do the things the same all the time, you fall into the same habits, paradigms, programs, and then you kind of, that's this, in a sense, falling asleep. You need to awaken from that to get yourself into new dimensions. As I say, if you used to wake up and get out of bed one morning and hit your toe, instead of saying, oh shit, it's going to be one of those days, tell yourself, oh, now that's happened, that's the worst thing that could happen today, it's going to be a really good day. And what's happened is there's 2 different dimensions, and you split off into the good one and not the negative one. Because once you create that aura and that energy of the negative one, you're just going to magnetize that and draw that towards you. Whereas once you say that's out the way now, it's going to be a really good day, you magnetize and draw that towards you. It's just basic law of attraction.
We've been listening to this really great audio book called The Master Key System. I recommend you all check it out. It's so much about the law of attraction. It was written in like 1910 or something, right? 1910, and it's so deep.
It's by Charles F. Haynor.
Nice. And it goes into all of this stuff, like whatever you give energy to, you attract more of it. So, Jim Rohn says, if you want things to change, you have to change. Changing your eating habits is such a quick, easy way to just shift things. But guys, I want us to get a little bit real, a little bit raw, a little bit vulnerable. So I'm going to ask you...
We've got to take our pants off again.
Not this time, not in this video. Check out our other blogs. No, I'm joking.
That's on another channel.
I'd love to know, what was your biggest challenge during the fast? And what was your best moment during the fast?
On the spot.
I'm going to do mine first, so I'll give you some time to feel into it, yeah?
Thank you.
I'm just going to take a deep breath while I feel into mine. Okay, I already know. My biggest challenge during the fast was deciding to have that drink. Like, I really didn't want to. My ego, I was like so determined to see this through. And I have this thing that I want people to think I'm successful, and that when I say I'm going to do something, that I do it. And there is a big part to that, you know, honesty, integrity are so important for me. But at the same time, it's just stupid to keep doing something once you know it's not working for you anymore. Like,
there's your own limits, right?
There's no brownie points in that, right? If you know something's not going to get you to where you need to go, change the direction.
You're only in competition with yourself.
Exactly. But that was a really tough one for me, and I'm so glad I had the guys here, because Elliot literally said to me, Luke, you are doing this, go get in the bath, right? And he even ran the bath for me with some salts in, we squeezed some lemons in, it was nice.
Candles.
He lit me some candles.
He woke me up for the lighter.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And that was so nice. So that was the biggest challenge for me, was calling that in, but I'm so glad that I did. I'm really glad I did. I feel like I got what I needed from those 4 days. I'm 4 days dry fasting, by the way. 4 days hard dry fasting is a lot. Especially
That's a tough thing.
We were walking like 20,000 steps a day or something.
Averaging 22,000 steps each.
Yeah.
And the calorie burn was over 3,000, well,
Yeah.
3,000.
So that's a calorie deficit every day of between 5,000 to 6,000 calories each.
Yeah.
Once you take away the calories we burn and the calories that we would have eaten.
Yes.
So yeah, we was logging all of this as we was going along.
Yeah. My best moment. Best thing really for me, like all three of us have such different perspectives on how the universe works, but we have so many things in common too, and it's been super nice just going deep and just sharing what we know, and like just being with the guys for a whole week. That was like super cool. I can't even remember the last time I did that. Just like hung out with my mates for like a week. It was just really lush. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. Who'd like to go next?
Me. So, my favourite moment, not copying, but it was spending the week with these two guys. It's something I've never really done. The occasional holiday when I was much younger, but I've spent a lot of time on my own recently. So it was getting back integrated, especially with male company. So that was for me the best part of it.
What was your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge, I don't want to say that it wasn't challenging, because my biggest challenge was myself and my mind. So there were quite a few occasions where I started to get a little bit paranoid about dehydration and things like that, and some of it came from outside. So conversations with some members of friends and family. I know some people were concerned over my health and well-being. I'm not a big guy, but I did set out with the intention not to lose much weight. So I'm over the moon that I only lost 3.5 kilos, all in all, which I'm already putting back on. And we're not even eating huge amounts. It's fruit, it's water, and yeah, meals, a few little bits and pieces, but that's it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was a big one for you. I really saw, I'm sure Elliot you saw as well, Dan's mindset. Like, you came into it, you're the kind of guy that does a lot of research and you really looked into everything, and our mind can paralyze us from taking action, right? Because we try to overthink things a lot. So I've really seen you just like relaxing and letting go and just being more chilled out.
Well, not eating food, amazingly, chilled you out. The hunger was there, then it went. Then after that, there was the thirst, not really much hunger, but the mind was clear. Apart from getting a little bit worried every now and again, it would then clear up. And I would always feel confident that I wasn't going to make any mistakes and come a cropper. I was going to be good through it all.
Beautiful, thank you. Elliot!
So for me, having done many hard dry fasts, 7-day ones and a 14-day dry fast, obviously coming into this is the first time I've really taken two people away and held them as well. So it's quite difficult for me, obviously, watching you guys and then watching you guys drink water and thinking to myself, I need to prove myself to you guys, which is obviously my ego kicking in, whereas really I don't need to prove that to you. I've proved it to myself that I can do these things. So part of me held on for that just to prove that point, but then I'm thinking to myself, I've done this so many times now, what's the need to? Because what happens with food is, and this is my belief, and you can take what you want from this, but I believe that the vegetables and the meat or whatever you eat, I believe it takes its energy from the sun. So when you're eating it, you're absorbing a second-hand energy. So the reason we do sun gazing first thing in the morning is because you're cutting out the middleman. If you're a good businessman, you cut out the middleman and go straight to source. When you do fasting, you do get a much stronger connection to source, and that's the reason I do it. I don't do it for weight reasons. I've mastered my body a long time ago. I was very overweight when I was younger.
We have a swan that's just come here.
Yeah, I've got to move Theo.
And our dog, Theo, is freaking out a bit. And the swan's hissing at him. Anyway, sorry, bro.
That's cool.
Sauce just came over to say hello.
So, I believe that I've made predictions in some of my posts on my page, and you can read into yourself. I believe by 2026 we'll actually be eating for pleasure and we won't be eating for energy, because the energy exchanges you can do with trees and the earth and the sun, they're actually a lot more powerful. And what you find is when you do fasting, your thoughts become a lot clearer. You don't get bogged down as much. If you look into it, Pythagoras actually said that he didn't think people should eat meat, especially if there was a judge or someone in a position of power who had to make heavy decisions, because it clouds your thoughts. Now, my theory behind this is, I've played around with lots of gym things and I've played around with all sorts of substances over my life, but if you inject testosterone into your body takes on that testosterone and you become stronger. Now, if you eat an animal, that animal's gone through a lot of stress while it was dying. So what's to say when you eat that animal, you're not taking on that stress? So by taking it, you're embodying that animal's stress, and that goes into your body, and that's when you start to get inflammation and all sorts of illnesses.
This is just physics. This is just pure physics. Energy can never be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred. It's the law of conservation of energy. So if you're eating something that has experienced trauma, you are literally ingesting that trauma. You then have to process the trauma. Or if you're eating something that is sad, you then have to process that sadness. Or if you're eating something that has been killed, like imagine what you're putting into your body. It's crazy.
It's a low vibrational frequency food. So the higher vibrational frequency foods you eat, the better your connection to source, the more energetic you are. I mean, I always, being in the gym all the time, I was like 15, 16 stone when I was 25 years old. You're told you need to eat a lot of meat. I didn't know until 2 years ago when I gave up meat that I could stay. I'm actually stronger now than I was back then. I'm more flexible. And my aim, and you'll see this and hold me to it, by this time next month I'll be 13 stone and 6% body fat.
Nice.
And I've done it many times before. It's been my goal for the last 3 or 4 years to master not only my mind but my body. You have 4 bodies. You have a mental body, a physical body, an energetic body, and an emotional body.
Yeah.
So what I do is I coach in how to get fit in all of those bodies, not just one.
Nice. Look up vegan bodybuilders. There's so many vegan bodybuilders. They're massive, ripped, super strong, don't need to eat the protein. I used to think I had to, someone told me, a bodybuilder, I had to have 200 grams of protein a day.
Mate, I was making protein shakes with double cream at one point.
Was disgusting when I think about it now. All right, we're going to wrap this up. I just want you guys just to end with something inspirational you think that people need to hear. Elliot, what do you want to say?
You're a lot more powerful than you've been led to believe.
Yeah, you are so much more powerful than you've been led to believe. Dan, what would you like the people to know?
I'm not going to go back to drinking and smoking all the time. In fact, I'm going to try and stop drinking and smoke. Well, no more smoke, and so no more drink.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's a promise to myself, to my higher self.
Beautiful.
So that's it.
Beautiful. I'll just leave you with this. I really believe that you can be, do, or have anything that you want. You've been conditioned to think that you're small. You've been conditioned to put limits on yourself, but none of that is true. The only thing that limits you is your imagination, and your imagination is a muscle. So test it. Get in a mastermind group. I love being with these guys because they push me to create new ideas. Together we create new stuff that can never happen before. Find people that you resonate with and ask them.
The most powerful nation in the world is your imagination.
Boom. Most powerful nation in the world is your imagination. If you're interested in the fasting, hit up Elliot Harlan Bethel R666HA13, and I hope to see you on one of our retreats soon.